Welcome to the third compilation celebration, which will have dozens of creepy clips. I truly appreciate all of your support, your positive remarks and feedback, your likes, your encouragement has helped keep this channel going. This compilation is missing episode 25 because I used episode 25 for episode 17. So it was actually included in the second compilation. Some of these videos you may not have had time to see, others may be your favorites. But let's get into the video and see what questions we had. This is Paranormal, True or False. If you enjoy this video, it is free to subscribe, and I need your help to get to 1,000 subscribers. Is this stowaway a ghost? This is a final check to see if there's anybody on board this plane. And he's already checked that back area and didn't see anything in it. But now it looks like there's a shadow peeking out of that doorway. If I said there is a video of a man with a flashlight on a dark plane, what is your gut reaction? Well, I was trying to think of why someone is on a dark plane with a flashlight. And apparently, based on this checklist, it is normal. All lights are turned off after the last passenger departs. Now, it is possible this jet is being stored in a plane graveyard, and that is why security is checking it for trespassers. Or the plane is at the mechanics being worked on. But because I don't understand the circumstances of why this individual is wandering around in a dark plane with a flashlight, I don't know if this is paranormal or staged. In this case, because of 9/11, the person with the flashlight scares me more than the shadow figure. Is this creepy climber a ghost? As we watch this scene, a woman in a white dress starts climbing this beam and climbs over the balcony. Two things I notice immediately. At this part, it looks like they're in a harness, and the other thing is, I think this is actually a man in a disguise. I don't think it's a woman. This is just one more example of human beings doing crazy stunts. Cool and creepy, but crazy. Did a ghost show up to watch the dance? A young teenager climbs up on the counter and starts dancing. But in the doorway, we will see a figure pass by. When I'm looking for paranormal, this is what I'm looking for. A free-floating mass that is indistinct, but still humanoid. Is this an alien creature or a person with a medical condition? In this scene, we will see someone come from behind the tree with supposedly long arms in a stooped over position with a big head. The videographer is trying to pass this off as an alien, when in actuality it's just a human being using forearm crutches. I don't know if the videographer staged this or if he just captured a person with mobility issues, and there's various types of diseases that can cause mobility issues requiring someone to use forearm crutches. Faking medical conditions or treating medical conditions as aliens is just bad karma. We are all one accident away from having severe mobility injuries. So don't risk it. Is this hooded figure a ghost or real? As this couple is snuggled up on the couch, a hooded figure can be seen. The couple claims to be alone, but were they? This appears to be a solid figure. So is this a real human being that they just didn't notice because they were too busy being affectionate? Or is it a ghost? It's a solid mass that is casting a shadow. I'm just not convinced the couple was alone. Is this shadow in the doorway a ghost? As this woman is videoing her dog, she and the dog both notice something standing in the doorway. It almost looks like somebody is standing there with their hand on their hip. But then when it disappears, it doesn't disappear as if it's a hand on a hip. I know someone could be hiding off camera and creating that shadow, but the dog's alertness without acting like it's welcoming causes me to believe this is not staged. The other thing that I notice is how it fades away when it disappears. It doesn't just disappear. Are these cats spying on ghosts? As the cat becomes alert to something outside of the room, we'll see a shadow cross in front of the door. A second cat will appear, and then there's a noticeable jump cut before that second cat enters the room, but it's while the tray table is being moved and before the door is shut. If you watch the cat outside of the room, you'll see the jump cut. Jump cut slowed down and sped up. Definitely indicative of staging. We start the scene with the cat looking at the human being who's off camera and out of sight of the mirror. Then that human being will call the other cat, as well as there's a second human being that creates the shadow. This causes the cat to look in the direction of the doorway. The jump cut is probably concealing the fact that the person that was behind camera and off the mirror crawls forward to hide behind that chair so that they can move that table. Meanwhile, the second person closes the bedroom door. Most likely the cat is fixated on the door because of the string. If you enjoy this video, it is free to subscribe, and I need your help to get to 1,000 subscribers. Is this a ghost train? As we watch the train rails, a ghostly image of a train stops at the station. I don't think this is a video overlay, because the sharp edges I think are due to the train itself. What I do think is happening is a camera glitch. I think that this is a digital camera glitch or an IR sensor or shutter frame issue. I'm not sure which, but go watch Corridor Crew's video. They talk about this in much more detail and can explain this type of glitch better than I can. Is this cart possessed? A shopping cart moves, seemingly by itself. I believe that this is just a string tied to this cart and somebody off camera is pulling it. Is this a ghost in this hospital? As we look down this corridor, on the right, something peeks out of a doorway and then walks out of the doorway. So of course the footage is grainy because apparently no one has invented a camera that doesn't cause this grainy effect. But when it's peeking out of the doorway, it looks like a solid mass. But once it clears that shell, it looks like it's transparent. When it looks out the doorway, it looks like it's wearing one of those Jason masks. I feel like this might be a prank. Because the footage is so grainy, I have to wonder if this is some type of a camera glitch that's being exploited. Is this a doppelganger? We will see a ghostly figure in that archway. When he sees the figure, he chases after it, but it looks like him. When we zoom in and look at this figure, it does look similar to the investigator. I think it's fair to note a lot of people can look alike from behind. Our facial features tell us apart more than the backside of our heads. I also wonder if this is one of those time warp glitches where this is just repeating him walking through that hallway. I'm not convinced it's a doppelganger, a computer glitch, or a video overlay, so I'm not sure on this one. Is the spirit departing? It appears that spirit is leaving that body. I wonder if this is what saran wrap would look like on this type of a camera. Is it some type of a sheer fabric on a pulley system attached to the ceiling? I'm not convinced that this is real, but I can't figure out how they faked it. Is this chair possessed? A chair at the table suddenly shifts as if someone's gonna sit down. Because there is someone sitting at the table so close to the chair, they could have kicked it or shoved it. So I'm not convinced this is paranormal, because if something moved that close to you, you would jump away. Is this a ghost in this closet? As a noise is being investigated, they get to this closet door and they swing it open, and something inside startles them. A creepy head can be seen. I think this is just a shirt or an article of clothing, and the folds and the fabric and the sleeve is what's causing that look of being eyes and a mouth. If you open up a closet door quickly, the vacuum of that movement will cause the clothes inside to move. This is creepy, but I think it's a combination of the light angle, the movement of the camera, and the movement of the clothes caused by the vacuum is just giving us this weird, creepy look. Can you see this faint figure? It appears that a dark figure jumped into that pipe. This figure is so faint that I don't know if it's a video overlay. I can't tell for sure. But I did find that if you speed up the film, you can see it better. I also wonder if this is some type of a bug, a leaf, or a pollen or something that fell from the tree, but it's either happening so close to the camera that it's distorting it, or so far away that it's just faint and transparent. Is this pot levitating on its own? A pot in the sink starts levitating. Normally, when I see objects move, I always just assume it's a string, and the reason why is because it's always moving in a direction of off camera. This is unique in which now it's not going in a direction off camera. If it was on a string, I think we would see more movement and the pot would not be as stable as it is. Same with if there was some type of an air pressure being used. I don't think the pot would be that stable. But now we have these remote controlled drones that can actually lift quite a bit. And if you have a really good drone pilot, it's possible that there's a drone under there and we just can't see it. If you enjoy this video, it is free to subscribe, and I need your help to get to 1,000 subscribers. Is this shadow a ghost? As this individual is working, a shadow crosses behind him. So the obvious question is the light source behind the camera, and is somebody walking behind the camera but in front of this light? Though it kind of appears to be a free-floating mass, I have to question it because why is there a camera in this position at this location? What are they expecting? Is this another shadow figure? As the camera pans around the room, it appears to capture a shadow figure. Again, is the light source behind the camera and somebody walks behind the camera but in front of the light source? Or is this a ghost? It does not appear to be a free-floating mass. It does look like a shadow, but a shadow of what? What is this creepy blob? As the security camera points down the hallway, a black shadow crosses in front of the screen. Did you recognize it as a bug on the lens? Another shadow? As the camera pans to the left, a shadow appears in front of the lens. If this is a shadow cast by somebody behind camera, where's the camera operator's shadow? This appears to be a free-floating mass that's transparent. I don't see any squared off edges or to be video overlay. This shadow is hiding in plain sight. As the camera pans to the right, a shadow figure can be seen lurking. This is one of those odd clips that I don't know if it is real or fake. We see a solid monochrome mass, but is it really a shadow figure, or is it a human playing a hoax? Is this a ghost hiding behind this door? As we look into this room, we see a dark mass peering back out at us. This reminds me of the odd shadows that you would get with a candlelight flickering. Since the candle appears to be behind the camera, or at least out of frame of the camera, it would be very easy to recreate this effect. Is this ghost lady real? This is a webcam that updates its image every 20 seconds. I'm pretty sure that this is photoshopped, but I do like the touch of the spectral light behind her that looks like an umbilical cord coming out of her back. That's pretty cool. Is this a ghost spying on these train passengers? As these passengers board this train, they see a face beneath them in the gap. All I can see is a plastic or paper bag with writing on it that resembles a face. I can't really see a ghost. What do you see? Is this pareidolia or paranormal? As this train moves along the rails, we see in the window closest to us on the left what appears to be a face form. Our eyes are much like cameras in which the pupils act like a shutter. So as this train is moving through different light sources, it's creating these shadows that look like a face to us because of pareidolia. Is this girl a ghost? A girl can be seen at the corner of that building. Is she real or is she a ghost? As the camera operator moves around the corner, the girl disappears. How could she disappear? Well, where is our blind spot at? The key is that the camera is at eye level. A petite person would duck down out of frame, and then when they go to turn the camera back and finally lower it to the ground, that petite person is on the other side of the corner. This clip is too easy to recreate. Is this a running ghost? A ghostly figure is running down the aisle. Is it the bride or is it the groom? As much as I'd like to say this is a ghost, it is a shutter speed issue with the camera. It's the combination of the dimly lit room aimed towards a light source that causes this ghostly effect. To learn more about this type of shutter speed issue, go watch the guys over at Corridor Crew. They're special effects artists, and that's all they do is work with cameras. And they can explain this shutter speed issue better than I can, and they do it in a really funny way. So I really recommend watching this video. If you enjoy this video, it is free to subscribe, and I need your help to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to keep referring you guys to the Corridor Crew, who can explain a lot of these camera glitches better than I can. So if you look in the upper right hand corner, you'll see an info card. That is their link to this video. Is this a ghost cat? As this cat runs in front of the camera, it disappears. This is caused by a digital camera glitch in which it stops picking up motion because it's been static with no motion for so long. Is this a ghost crossing the street? It appears a man is crossing the street, except for cars are going through him and he's not being affected by them. I'm not seeing any sharp edges, so if it's video overlay, the color matching is done really well. This camera looks like it's being pointed through a glass window, and if it is, then this is possibly a reflection of somebody walking down the sidewalk. However, the reflection is creating this optical illusion of them walking across the street, and it's all in the angle of the camera. Is a ghost riding this bike? As this motorcycle crosses this intersection, it appears no one is riding it. Is it possible the rider fell off out of range of the camera, and forward momentum carried this bike through the intersection? Is this once again a glitch in the camera that is not picking up all the pixels of the objects in front of it? Bottom line is, if ghosts can do this, then why do we mourn death? Because that would be pretty cool to be an invisible person on a bike. What caused this glass to shatter? The glass on a cabinet door shatters. It looks like there's a door on the other side of the cabinet. Did a human being just reach through there and hit that glass? Is this tempered glass which is known to shatter spontaneously? Is this a hoax or an insurance claim? Is this another ghost crossing the street? We see someone or something cross in front of these cars. Unfortunately, again, this is not a ghost. It is a camera glitch caused by the IR sensor and the shutter speed, which creates this ghostly effect. Are these ghost orbs and ghost lights? As we watch, particles appear in the frame of the camera. Is someone smoking or vaping off camera, creating this hazy look? Did somebody stomp on the floor above, causing dust to fall? Or is that headlights from a car outside that's being reflected through those glass windows in an odd way? I think it's car headlights. What do you think? Is this a cryptid stalking this animal? I'm not sure if that's a cow, but it does look like something is stalking it from the edge of the woods. My first thought is maybe it's a larger breed of wolf. My second thought is it's some type of a dog breed, but maybe its hesitation is because it's waiting for the rest of the pack. Then I zoomed in and saw that it's surrounded by sharp edges, and it's sitting in a box, which is indicative of video overlay. Is this wheelchair possessed? The wheelchair in the upper left-hand corner starts moving, seemingly by itself. Is the ground level, or is this a downward slope? Did somebody get behind those bushes and just push it? Or is somebody using a string? An easy solution to prevent this in the future is to put the brakes on. All wheelchairs have brakes to keep those wheels from moving. Is this a ghost? A ghostly figure leaves the carport. Is it smoking or vaping coming from one of the cars? Is it dust from that carport? Is it some type of a weather issue such as fog or mist? Or is it a camera glitch? If you enjoy this video, it is free to subscribe, and I need your help to get to 1,000 subscribers. Is this a ghost hanging in this door? This employee will open up this door, take something out, and then come back in with something else. And as he's moving around, he'll close the door but not completely. And then when a light flashes across the door, an eerie figure can be seen. I keep watching the light because I feel like that might be part of the issue. And at first I thought it was a security guard flashlight, but now I'm wondering if it's headlights. This is one of those odd ones where if it was video overlay, they did a really good job of color matching so you can't see any of the sharp edges. But I also find myself wondering, is it just a glitch in the camera and just in that moment a real employee was coming through that door and they just happened to stoop down maybe because they dropped something? But the camera glitched from going into the light versus dark and portrayed that as a ghostly figure instead of a real figure? I'm really torn on this one because I could see how it could be a camera glitch caused by the light versus dark, and cameras are just so sensitive about that stuff. But the transparency in that left shoulder and arm, it just gives me the creeps, and I just feel like it might be real. Is this a migration of ghosts? As we watch the right hand side, we will see a bunch of white figures running, with a couple of them jumping over the fence. It looks like a herd of deer. After two figures jump over the fence, they lay motionless on the ground. I noticed two things. First, there's a car that was speeding down the road at about the same speed that these figures were running. So I feel like the car headlights might have produced some of the effect that we see here. So I'm thinking the tree line or a fence line between the road and this area has to be very sparse in some areas, which creates some of these effects. The second thing I noticed is this shiny thing right in the middle of the crowd. Did somebody forget to take their Apple Watch off before they decided to pull this prank? The shiny mask shows up just before the two figures jump over the fence. Did somebody set up some type of a smoke machine that would puff out like a drum and create these effects just as the car was driving by? And then at the very end they toss over some type of batting or stuffing, and that's what we're seeing laying on the ground. I'm not convinced this is paranormal. I think it can be recreated using the correct equipment and materials. They probably noticed when they looked at their security camera footage how that light bounces around in that area from headlights, and if it was foggy it would have given these eerie ghostly figures. So they probably noticed that and decided to elaborate on that. Are these ghosts in this window? As we look into this window, We start to see figures and shapes. On the right, we see a small hand. On the left, we see a face of a small child. Is this a Rorschach test, or is it pareidolia? I think this window with different lights and reflections and shadows just messes with your eyes and causes optical illusions, because I can actually see a nun in this as well. I would like to know what's behind the camera. Is there a statue that is being reflected into this window? Because oftentimes when you have this type of ornate pattern on windows, you have ornate statues as well. It is very common to see a life-size statue of a child in gardens and yards in some of the more posh residents on the earth. This could also be a cemetery, and the statue is depicting an angel. What is this freaky flyer? As we look towards the sky, we see a freaky floating humanoid figure. What is it? I can see the humanoid figure, but I think that's pareidolia. What I really think is happening is that is a bunch of balloons that escaped. I think they were tied together just like this stack of balloons, and then they got loose, and they do look like they're a human being when they're floating that high up. And it's possible when they got close to a tree or an electric line, a few of them started popping, or they're slowly losing their helium, and that's why they're coming down. Is this a real person or a shadow figure? As these two people are talking, we see a figure walk in front of the doors. The person with the camera immediately moves over and goes to investigate. He pans the camera in the direction that the figure should have been, and a cart moves seemingly by itself, but there's no figure anywhere. Initially, I thought they were in the room, and that was just somebody walking in the hallway. Then when we go through the doors, we see the figure was in a room, and it doesn't look like there's any way out based on the direction it was going. This could be the hoax because of how he delayed panning the camera towards the direction the figure walked into. The figure could have squatted down and snuck behind the camera operator and went out the door during that delay when the camera wasn't focused on that side of the room. A string could have been used to pull the cart. I know there are some days and nights where a hospital can get slow in every city around the world, and this could have been one of those nights where they decided to stage all this. Again, this is another one where I can see how it can be recreated, but there's just something about it that makes me feel like it might be real. Is this a ghost trying to escape an accident? This is a scene of a car accident, and supposedly a person died. As the tow truck driver is trying to move the car, a ghostly figure can be seen. Is this an odd reflection? Is this a camera glitch? Is this video overlay? I don't see sharp edges, but they could have done a really good job on color matching to blend the edges in. Or is this the ghost of the person that just died? If you enjoy this content of questioning everything, please subscribe. It really helps me out. And leave a like, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Is this a ghost reading? In the camera view, in the upper right hand corner, we will see a book levitate. Then the book will drop back onto the table. What moved that book? A ghost? A string? Let's zoom in and take a closer look. When it initially lifts up vertically, it acts like it's on a string. Then it moves into this horizontal position. We don't see any sharp edges around it, so it's not video overlay unless they did a really good job of color matching and blending. This could be really good computer graphics. Watch the Corridor Crew to see more and learn more about how CGI effects can be created. In the upper right hand corner is a link to their site. If we used one string at the top to lift it up and one string at the bottom to lift it horizontally, could we recreate this effect? I can see how this could be recreated, but I'm not sure if it was. There's one more item closer to the ceiling that looks like a face, and it keeps transforming. I think this might be something hanging from the ceiling and the air vent is moving it. The fact that it looks like a face, that could just be a clown's mask indicating the children's section. The original footage was gray, but the activity didn't show up as well. I used a color correction in my editing software to enhance the image. Is this cup possessed? As we watch, this cup starts moving by itself. Is the cup attached to a string and moving towards somebody off camera? For me, when objects move, it's more impressive if it's moving towards a solid wall than it is towards somebody off camera, and the string can very easily be erased during the editing process. What swung this door open? As we watch, the door swings open, seemingly by itself. Is someone hiding on the other side of the counter and just used a string to open that door? I would like to see the video footage of the 2 hours leading up to this point so I can see where everybody is at. A creepy cat is stalking a cat. As we watch this cat walking, all of a sudden a cat appears. It's just Mrs. McGonagall keeping an eye on things. Initially when I was looking at it, I was thinking, okay, it's some type of a glitch with the camera that's duplicating that first cat. This one took me a minute to figure out because there's two different issues. The first issue is a digital camera glitch in which the camera initially does not pick up that second cat, combined with the second issue, which is the second cat has a similar color as the ground, and the lighting is not optimal to create the correct image. When I line the cats up at the same spot, their feet do not align, so it's definitely not a duplication glitch. Why are these flowers fidgeting? As we watch, the flowers in the upper right hand corner will start to move on their own. What is causing this? If it was an air vent or an earthquake, all of the flowers would move. Again, all of the flowers would move if it was footsteps or stomping. The movement doesn't seem natural if it's a string. The movement reminds me of a bug walking on a flower and how it will move just a little bit. The swaying that it's doing reminds me of even when there's a mole or something underground that will move the roots. I wish we could see if there was anything on the stem that could cause that to move. Would it matter if these flowers are real or fake? What do you think on this one? Because I'm not convinced it's paranormal. Is this a ghost orb? A white orb floats up towards the right upper corner. I recommend you go back and watch episode 12 because I talk about how creepy bugs can look when they're up against a lens. You can even see the little waddle of its walk. Is this a ghost or something else? We see a figure on the right-hand side moving towards the stairs, and another figure at the bottom of the screen. When I first saw this clip, I was so excited because I thought it was going to be a real ghost. The first image on the right threw me off and I did just think it was a ghost. But then the second figure showed up and I realized it's a spider web. Is this a drunk ghost? Bottles and glasses are falling to the floor and breaking. We don't see any other movement besides just these few bottles. So that rules out earthquake, foot stomping, train vibration, or plane vibration. If it's a string, they're using a string on a bottle that's behind some of these other things, and that's causing multiple things to fall. So yes, this could be recreated. Everything in a bar is pretty expensive, so if it's an employee pulling a prank, they probably lost their job. It could be an owner trying to promote their business. It could be CG or video effects, and it could also be paranormal. Is this a stalker or a ghost? In the window on the left-hand side of that door, we see a shadow. It will move across the doors and out of frame. Due to how dim this footage is, I enhanced it and brightened it so we could see the images better. Obviously, this could be recreated by anybody that wants to film like this. I do find that the camera angle being so low is suspicious. But regardless of if that's real or fake, that is creepy. If you enjoy this content of questioning everything, please subscribe. It really helps me out. And leave a like, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Is this appliance possessed? First the refrigerator door opens, then the fruit bowl moves. The first thing to address is the video effect. The blue tint and the shadows in the corner, that's a video effect. If we take this image and overlay it with the blue tint, we get this. Then when we add the shadow with the blue tint, you get something like this. And these are just video effects that you add during editing process. So now that we have the mood lighting for this paranormal activity, let's address the paranormal activity. The fruit bowl on the counter moves. I've already taken 2 episodes to look at this person's paranormal activity in both episode 7 and episode 8. And I truly believe he's just using string and adding this ambient lighting for the freaky effect. I don't think any of this is real. If it's something that can be easily recreated, or there's so much paranormal that it becomes unbelievable, then I go with it's not true. This brings a whole new meaning to subway creep. As the camera pans down the track towards the right, suddenly a figure will appear. Is it a human? Is it a cryptid? Is it a prank? This footage is just too grainy to make out exactly what we're looking at, but chances are it's an employee or another passenger that just leaned out. I'm not willing to jump to the conclusion that it's a cryptid or a ghost, but it is definitely creepy. Is this the football game for ghost? The employee working in this shop is at the top upper left and moved out of the room, and then a bowl on this counter flies off and breaks. It does not appear that anybody is around to manipulate the situation. Typically when objects move, I'm always assuming it's a string. And had this moved towards the left, where someone could hide on the other side of the counter, I would have said this is not paranormal, it's just somebody with a string. The direction that it moved in is towards shelves that have a lot of things on them. It also is a heavy glass bowl, so string may or may not work on that. So in this case, I do think that this is paranormal activity. This is a whole new meaning to drug high. This is security cameras in a drugstore or pharmacy, and suddenly some of the medication will start levitating off the shelf and falling to the floor. If both boxes had flown off the shelf, I would immediately assume it's a string. But that one box levitating is messing with me. I know some shelving units have one shelf with no barrier to separate the rows. So is someone on the other side just pushing that box out? But what about the levitating box? So our options are, this is some type of a CG effect. This is some type of a movie studio set. Or this gentleman has some form of telekinesis. If it's CG, then that's an actor interacting with those supposedly props. If it's a movie or TV set, then again that's an actor, and movies and TV are just masters of visual effects. Is it telekinesis? Possibly. I understand it functions much like this. Is it a prank and somebody's on the other side of these shelves, just pushing these boxes out? Possibly, but what did they use to levitate that one box? Because that box that's levitating is too stable to be on a string. The other thing that I noticed at the beginning of the clip, a monochrome black shadow is at the end of that row on the right hand side. It appears and disappears before the first box levitates. Is that a real person dressed in black? I can't see their hands, so it's messing with me. Is that the person pulling the prank? I have more questions than answers for this one. Why did this glass shatter? I found a second angle to a clip that I'd already reviewed, looking from the opposite direction. The glass in that case shatters. A lot of cabinets are made with tempered glass, and when they're exposed to extreme temperatures or different stresses, tempered glass can just shatter like this. Now, if this is not tempered glass, which I think it is, any type of glass can be exposed to extreme stresses and cause it to shatter. It looks to me like this cabinet is being stored in a storage house or a warehouse of some sort, and a lot of those type of warehouses and storages don't have any type of AC or heat. If that door is opened in front of that cabinet, it's possible it's either letting in cold air or hot air, and it's that type of just immediate temperature change that can produce that type of shattering. Is this a shadow person crossing this road? A shadow crosses the road and then stops alongside the road on the left-hand side. An employee comes down the road to check it out and figure out what that was. We can still see it on the left-hand side, and he's looking in the direction of where it's at, but not seeing anything. He walks in the direction it should be, and even kicks it or steps on it. He leaves the area, never seeing what made that shadow. Have you figured out what it is? 'Cause I think it's a bug on the lens. So he never stepped on it, he never saw it, he never kicked it, because it's not down there. What is this shadow walking down this hallway? This shadow figure with a weird walk walks towards the camera. The movement is so odd, and I don't think it's coming from outside. I think it's inside the building. Is this a video effect? Or is this real paranormal? I wish the footage was better, so we could tell one way or the other. If you enjoy this content of questioning everything, please subscribe. It really helps me out. And leave a like, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Whose shadow is this? As these investigators are exploring this abandoned building, when they pan their camera and light up the staircase on the right, they will catch a shadow. Whose is it? In this freeze frame, we see where the other investigator is at, and the shadow moves in a different direction than the camera operator. Is this a hoax and there's a third person? Is this a weird camera reflection caused by the second guy's light aimed at the first camera's body? Because the shadow looks like it's holding a camera in front of it. If it's not CG, if it's not a weird reflection issue, and it's not a hoax, then it might be real. I'm not sure on this one. What do you guys think? Is this a poltergeist or a prank? As we watch the security camera footage, we start to see activity, whether it's the door handle moving, file cabinets opening, papers flying. Are strings being used by people off camera? Who keeps paper in the ceiling? There's a 17-second cut in the footage between this scene and the next one. In 17 seconds, can you move the chair that's closest to the door and remove the paper from the printer and throw it on the floor? All of this activity can be recreated, so I just wonder if this is a movie set. All of this activity is happening after 3 a.m. which in Western culture is classified as the devil's hour or the witching hour. Is this a cryptid or a creature? As the camera is pointed out the window, we see a copper-colored creature under the clothesline. What is it? As we watch, it suddenly moves away. Is it a bug on the window that because of perspective, it's looking larger to us because it's closer to us? When I first saw it, the way that it moves away from us reminded me of how a frog jumps. Sorry everyone, all I can see is a bug on a window. Could it just be a June bug? Do you see something different? Why did these bottles flip from the shelf? After this man passes by these bottles, they fall behind him, startling him. So we have to ask the obvious questions. Is the building vibrating? Well, the camera's not moving, so that tells us they did not have an earthquake. There was not a low-flying plane or a train passing by. Was it rigged with strings or some type of a remote control? Is this a movie set? Is this CG? Did the guy walking by do something that would cause those bottles to fall? If he's an actor, then his surprise would be normal. Could condensation or moisture cause two bottles to fall? I think this one might be real. What do you guys think? Is it real or is it a movie set? What shattered? On the right side of the screen, something shatters on the counter, startling several people. A glass hanging above her head fell down onto the counter. What caused the glass to fall? Was the glass hung correctly? Is this as simple as gravity 1, glass 0? Or is it more complicated and ghost 1, glass 0? I'm not sure on this one. Most of the time, human error and gravity cause things to fall. Is this time the exception? Is this ghostly figure real? As the camera is moved around, it pans to the ceiling, and then it will catch the ceiling fan moving in an odd manner. Is someone on the floor above just stomping on the floor? Did they stop stomping? Or is someone using a string in the next room to move the ceiling fan? The camera again pans around the room and catches a figure that quickly disappears. Is this the person that moved the ceiling fan? When someone operates a camera in a manner that shows us every inch of a room to make sure we see that they're completely alone, I immediately question it. It's too easy for someone to stand behind the camera operator, pull a string on the fan, then pop out in front of the camera and then dart back behind the camera operator. Blurring is caused by the speed that he's moving the camera, and this is not a transparent figure. It's definitely creepy, but is it real? What is this creepy dude doing? As these individuals go outside and explore, they come across this humanoid creature. Then it notices them. Weird dude. It really doesn't matter if this is a cryptid or a human. If you find anything like this in the dark, run. If you enjoy this content of questioning everything, Please subscribe, it really helps me out. And leave a like, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. What is this shifty shadow doing? I made the footage twice as fast, so we could see more of the movement of this shadow. Then the shadow will rise up before it walks off camera towards the right. I increased the speed even more, and then I also tried to bring in some more contrast so we could see this figure better, but nothing's really helping. This footage is about 10 years old. The only other thing I would say on this one is the camera is conveniently placed. I don't know if it's some type of early video effects or if it's real. Why did this bottle move? As the camera points into the kitchen, we see a shadow, but that is the shadow of the camera operator. On the right hand side there is a bottle that is next to the microwave. Keep your eyes on that bottle. This panic footage shows the feet of more than one person. So we have to ask all the obvious questions. Was the string used? Was there vibration that caused it to move? Is there condensation that caused it to move? And thanks to slow motion, I see that the oven door opens when the bottle falls. So with the oven door opening, that rules out condensation and vibration. Is there space on the other side of the refrigerator where someone could be hiding and just used a string to open up the door as well as pull on that bottle? If the other side of the refrigerator doesn't have enough space for someone to hide, then did they rig a pulley system so that they could pull on that string from out in the area where they're standing? Is there a walkway on the other side of the refrigerator? Could they have used the refrigerator door handles as the pulley system? This is one of those where I can see how it could be faked with string and a pulley system. But was it faked? Did they go through all of that type of trouble to create this? And we know that there's many paranormal channels out there that go beyond this to fake it. Who is this sneaky shadow? As the cameraman takes us down this hallway, he will stop at this piece of furniture and pan the camera into the furniture, causing everything for us to go black. When he pans to the left, on the left side, we see someone walking. He rushes forward, but there's no one there. Did the camera operator purposely point the camera into the furniture to give that person time to get across the hall before he swung the camera back out? Did the person just duck down out of camera range and run back behind the camera operator and stayed behind the camera operator? Right here when he rushes forward, there is a blind spot near his knees. Did the person just stoop down out of sight at this stage? Watch how he'll make sure we see his blind spot after he turns around. Again, I can see how this could be recreated, so I'm not 100% convinced it's paranormal. Is this shadow dancing? As we look through the lens of a security camera, a black shape shows up. What is it? And why is it moving so oddly? Unfortunately, this is another bug on the lens, so it just flew there, landed right in the middle of the lens, and then it started moving off to one side of the lens. As this truck pulls up to this gate, we will see a very faint figure on the left-hand side walking away from the gate quickly. When we zoom in, we can see it definitely looks like a human being walking, and it appears they walk through that other wall. I just wonder if this is some sort of a reflection caused by the light bouncing off the gate when it's opening. And it creates this lens flare appearance when it's in normal speed. Could it be a real human being that moved because they thought they were caught and they were trying to be sneaky and get away, but the camera glitched out on them and created this transparency? But can a camera glitch explain how they walk through a wall? I know cameras are very sensitive to light and shadows and angles, and this could be an optical illusion. What do you think? Is that a real head looking around that wall at us? A head slowly peeks around the corner of the wall. Is this a human being in a mask? Is this a prank, a hoax? Is this real paranormal? I could see how easy it would be to recreate this, but it doesn't change the fact it's pretty creepy. I hope you enjoyed this compilation of dozens of creepy clips. Please let me know which clips you thought were real in the comment section below. Be safe and watch out for the non-paranormal threats. Much thanks to Jim Riley for the background music. It is free to subscribe, follow, like, and comment. So please subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, follow on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. And in each one of those platforms, leave a comment. Thanks for watching Paranormal, True or False.